Okay, Pam, maybe just give it 30, 40 seconds, and then as people join, we'll kick off.
Great, thank you. Well, hello, everyone. It is the top of the hour, and I want to welcome you to the Paddlesport Trade Coalition's informational webinar. This is the sixth webinar in a series presented by the PTC Best Practices Committee. Previous webinars have focused on best practices for retailers, brands, sales reps, and working with community organizations. Recordings of all of those sessions and other PTC webinars are posted for your review at the paddlesporttradecoalition.org website. Today's two-part webinar is focused on Go Paddle Day 2026, a practical guide to building local participation. But we'll also have a second part that shares safety resources that are available for your immediate use this paddling season. This webinar is open to all interested parties, and we're excited to have you here with us today. Thank you for joining. My name is Pamela Dillon. I serve as staff for the Paddlesport Trade Coalition. I'm pleased to serve as your on-air host for today's webinar with assistance behind the scenes from Kristen Place, your associate representative to the PTC Board of Directors and head of outdoor for Delta Digital. Rapid Media is the media sponsor of the Paddlesport Trade Coalition, and we're very, very appreciative of their support. If you've joined these webinars in the past, these housekeeping items will look very familiar to you. Please remember that this webinar is being recorded and will be available via a link shared with all who have registered. To safeguard against background noise, we ask that all of you stay muted for the duration of the webinar, but we do hope at the end of the webinar, if we have time, we'll open up mics for a live Q&A session. We invite you to raise your hands at that time, and we will unmute you to ask your question for those live sessions. We do, however, want to keep you engaged. Please utilize the Q&A features anytime through the presentation. If you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, most of them are on the bottom. You may need to open up the Q&A feature through the little ... session, but you can see that Q&A. Go ahead and open that up. Submit your questions there. But we also want you to use the chat, and please use the chat right now to let us know who you are and where you're located, and to say hi to all of your fellow participants in this webinar. We always enjoy seeing your comments in chat. There's lots of QR codes in this presentation, so have your phones ready to capture those nuggets of information. Again, thanks again for joining us. To get us started today, here is our PTC Board of Directors Chair, Stig Larsson. Stig.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Before we get started on the discussion of growing participation, I just want to give a quick update on what's happening with the PTC and kind of some behind the scenes things. So for those of you who are joining us last month, you're aware that we did launch the PTC Colab announcement. So we have settled on, well, excited to have, actually, not settling is not even the word. It's an incredible venue. We decided to move the PTC Colab to Montgomery, the Whitewater Center there. Pam and I and the PTC Colab committee have been working very, very diligently with them to make sure that we can bring an even higher amplified event than we had last year. Some of these things are going to, or obviously going to include rigs will be allowed on the channels this year. Some in-water PFD testing is going to be happening as well. The basically what's happened with Montgomery is they've given us kind of the entire site will be our site for the 3 days of the collab. So everything that we need to do to really make sure the collab event checks all the boxes for all the brands, retailers, outfitters, and sales reps attending is going to be worked in. So with that said, we have created a survey. There's a link there that can take you there, QR code. I really encourage you to fill out that survey, provide us your feedback, things that you would like to see at your collab event, and we can use that to build out the agenda. Something else that's going to be kind of exciting and new for us this year is that there are multiple amphitheater type settings where vendors and educators can have seminars based on their expertise. So our goal really is not just to engage, in the active trade of paddle sports, but it's also to kind of educate and kind of teach you and your staff and everyone within the industry a bit more about, how to fit a PFD or swiftwater rescue, and all the different types of courses that have kind of been the brainchild of Pam with the PTC University series. So you'll see that building out. It's been something that we've really been focusing on for the past couple of collabs and that people really wanted us to enhance. Another last thing on this, the Retailer Engagement Fund is going to be announced soon. And what that means is, retailers who are going to be attending the collab, we're looking at ways to offset some of your travel costs. I'm really trying to encourage you to come there. It's a super important event, not only to engage with your fellow retailers in the industry, but also to learn and ideally ensure your business is running as smoothly as possible. As mentioned in the last webinar as well, we have fully transitioned to the new web platform. Special thanks to the tech committee. This not only incorporates our front-end website that you're seeing now when you go to the Paddlesports but also it's our back-end accounting and membership modules. What this means, it's a much clearer interface, which will allow us to provide a better experience to all the PTC members. And it's also an added plus significant annual cost savings to the PTC, which will allow us to invest more in what the PTC needs to do to enhance collaboration with our industry. Lastly, Go Paddle Day planning is in full force. I'm going to hear a little bit more about that later on in this webinar. So I'll kind of save that surprise, or not surprise, but more of the build out of that later on. Lastly, PTC board elections. This year is a year where I'd say half of the board is up for re-election, and we'd love to have other interested parties join the PTC. Some fresh ideas, some fresh motivation. So if you or someone you feel be perfect for a position like on the board, feel free to email us info@paddlesportstradecoalition.org. Or personally, you can email Pam or myself, and I can give you a run through what these monthly meetings look like, and then what you can expect kind of time-wise. It's definitely a worthwhile cause. Obviously, this industry that we all know and love, and it's important that we put our ideas forward and try to change the course of where we're headed, and ideally put us in a better place in the future. Next, I'd like to introduce, I guess, the meat of this, the PTC Best Practices Committee. This committee really has been a backbone to our webinars over the past few months. A ton of great content, a ton of great learning. We've had so much positive feedback from what this committee has done. It's incredible what you guys have done. It's a ton of work for what you're doing, and of course, it's super important. So without further ado, the purpose of this committee is to create a common set of expectations, values, practical guidelines that help the entire sector thrive. Past webinar recordings are including the best practice assessment tools, which are all posted on the PTC website. In that committee, we have our committee chair, Patrick Quinney, committee members. We've got Rob Bozen, we've got Brian Boya from Bending Branches, we've got Nancy from Mohican Canoe and Kayaks, we've got Simon Coward from AQ Outdoors, Jason Eccles from Bending Branches, Cole from TMC Reps, Jen from Champions Outdoor, Bain from Southwest Paddle Sports, Kevin from Rocktown Adventures, Derry Walsh from Florida Paddling Trails Association, Andrea White from Costa Currents Leadership. As you can see, it's a very broad spectrum of people putting forward what they feel that we need to be doing in order to amplify our industry and become a better place. So without further ado, this webinar is a bit interesting today. It's a bit of a two-part presentation. So we're going to have the folks from NASBLA, Paddlesports Committee, will be sharing some information with us later on the webinar. But we also have a presentation from the Go Paddle Day Committee. So Go Paddle Day is June 20th, 2026. This initiative is designed to make paddle sports more accessible to people across North America. And this initiative is about creating a simple but powerful moment for participation. The goal is to encourage people across the industry and within local communities to get out on the water, whether through organized events or informal gatherings. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Pat Quinney. He's the chair of the Paddle Sports Best Practice Committee to introduce the presenters. Patrick?
Okay, thanks, Stig, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Before jumping into the introduction of the presenters for the next segment, let's kick things off with a poll. So which stakeholder group do you primarily identify with? Retailer, outfitter, sales rep, community organization, brand, manufacturer, or other? And if you're in the other camp, just put it in the chat for us. Today, this next section, specifically about Go Paddle Day, we're going to be featuring Jason Eccles from Bending Branches and Aquabound, Rob Bozen from Blue Water Trading, Bain Privet from Southeast Paddle Sports, John Kahn from Confluence Kayaks and CKS Online, as well as myself. So really happy to tell you more about Go Paddle Day, and hopefully you guys will get behind it. So now I'll turn things over to Bain to get into the content.
Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it. My name's Bain Privet. I'm with Southeastern Paddle Sports. I guess we'll look at the poll results there. Looks like heavy on the brands there. A lot of number of retailers, community orgs, multiple. Good to see. Good spread around there. But so once again, I'm Bain Privet with Southeastern Paddle Sports. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Go Paddle Day Committee. I just kind of want to talk about what Go Paddle Day is. Go Paddle Day is really about creating a shared moment for the paddling community. At its core, it's a celebration of paddling, but more importantly, it's an invitation. It gives people a reason to get on the water, connect with others, and have a positive first experience. This does not need to be complicated. A Go Paddle Day event can be a small social paddle, a community event, a demo day, or something hosted by a club, retailer, outfitter, or local group. What matters is the experience, that the experience feels welcoming, approachable, and enjoyable. And that's important because getting into paddle sports can feel intimidating for new participants. Gear, skills, where to go, who to go with, there can be a lot of barriers. Go Paddle Day is meant to lower that barrier and create an easy entry point into the paddling community. The goal is not just to get people on the water for one day. The goal is to help people paddle once they want to paddle again. So I'm going to flip it over to the other co-chair of the committee, John Kahn.
All right. Well, thank you, Bain. I am the owner of Confluence Kayak and Ski in Denver, Colorado, where it is hot and dry, and it would be a great day to be on the water today. I feel like participation is the missing link for growing our industry, and really that's why I'm interested in serving on the Go Paddle Day Committee. So for those of you out there that are thinking about hosting an event or getting involved in any way, the Go Paddle Day website is really where you want to get started. This is a website that is both consumer facing, meaning that people who want to go paddling can go there to find events that they can participate in, but it's also business or organization facing, meaning it's going to have resources there for you to help plan an event or help get involved with an event that's already going on. We've worked hard to put a lot of information onto this website, but also to keep it simple so that you don't have to really work hard to find out what you're looking for. It's got all the resources and tools you need to plan or participate in an event. And so whether you want to join an event, support an event that's already existing, create your own, this Go Paddle Day website is the place to start. So let's go ahead and next slide. There's a QR code here to get you to the Go Paddle Day website. If you don't use the QR code, it's just gopaddleday.com. So get on there and check it out. And, one thing that we want to be clear about getting going, this is the second year of Go Paddle Day. We expect this to grow this year from last year, but really this is a long-term process to get us going and building participation for our industry. And so to get going, if it's your first year or you don't have a lot of experience with events, you do not need to host your own event. You can join in an event that's already going. That's usually the easiest way to get started and to get involved with Go Paddle Day. There's a lot of community organizations. We had a lot of feedback from our prior webinars that these organizations want additional support. They need volunteers, they need bodies, they need skilled instructors and people that love paddle sports to help them put on an event. So whether you can bring boats, people, gear, whatever, there may be an event that's already going on in your neighborhood or in your city that you can join into. These might be local paddling clubs, Team River Runner, other organizations designed to get people involved. And so we encourage you to get to this website, look at it. If you can't put on an event yourself, it is pretty short notice for this summer to get it going, to plan a new event. Think about joining an event that's already going. And this is a great opportunity to find that event and get going. There's a lot of events already happening on June 20th. If you have an event plan that doesn't land on that exact day, please add it to the calendar. There's going to be people that are busy on June 20th and aren't able to participate that day. So add other dates out there too. It's a great way to build relationships with, both consumers and other organizations in your community. And so for that, for a little bit more about the actual planning guide, I'm going to turn it back over to Patrick.
Thanks, John. So as previously mentioned, Go Paddle Day event does not need to be complicated. I think that's the biggest takeaway here. The biggest piece of advice we have from the Best Practice Committee and the Go Paddle Day Committee as well is keep things simple and choose an event that matches your capacity, your location options, participants, and available support. If you have a small volunteer group, and a calm local launch, maybe that's a simple social paddle or beginner-friendly event. You don't need to build a large festival in year one, and this is something we want to build over time. The most successful events are usually the ones that feel welcoming, organized, safe, and easy to participate in. That participant experience matters more than the actual size of the event. If someone shows up feeling unsure or intimidated, but leaves feeling confident and connected to the paddling community, that's a success. We really want to lean into those successes. The Best Practice Committee, to help support would-be organizers or anybody on this call, we've put together some practical planning resources for you. So you can check out that QR code at the bottom of this slide. That will take you to a landing page where you're going to see all of the resources we've created. So we've created an event planning guide, which walks you through the actual planning process step by step. We've created an event prep checklist. This was created by Derry Walsh from Florida Paddling Trails. This will just help organizers stay organized leading up to the event. We've created an emergency action plan template. This was something Cole Lindor and I worked on together. And we also created a pre-trip safety checklist. And this was developed by Jason at Bending Branches in Aquabound. So all of these tools are available for you on the Go Paddle Day website. You can, again, hit that QR code. It'll take you straight there. These are meant to simplify the planning process and help you feel more confident as you sink your teeth into getting involved with the Go Paddle Day event. But just to echo John, there are tons of events already happening. There's a list of events on the Go Paddle Day website. Don't feel compelled to organize and host an event. Just get involved and just make sure you go paddling on Go Paddle Day. So I'm going to turn things over to Jason, who's going to talk about our safety considerations.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. Safety is one of the most important parts of running a successful Go Paddle Day event. And not because we want events to feel restrictive, but because good safety planning creates confidence for both organizers and for participants. There are a few things that should always be treated as non-negotiable. So, for example, the event needs to match the ability of the participants' paddling ability or capabilities, especially the least experienced people in the group. And so you want to make sure that the event that you're planning or the route that you're planning meets the ability of the participants. PFDs should be worn at all times on the water. Water conditions can change. You may not know the paddling ability of all of your participants, and so having PFDs on at all times just helps for a much safer event. There should be clear on-water leadership, which includes designating leads and sweep paddlers to help keep the group organized and supported. And organizers need to actively monitor weather and water conditions leading up to and during the event. The last thing you want is to be surprised by an incoming storm or something that could cause the participants to be put into an unsafe situation. And most importantly, if conditions no longer match the ability of the group, plan simply needs to be changed. And as unfortunate as that might be, especially with all the planning that goes into some of these events, safety is the number one concern. So that could mean shortening the route, moving the location, possibly delaying or even canceling altogether. And hopefully that's not the case. To support organizers, the Best Practices Committee also created practical safety resources. So Patrick just mentioned a few of those, and I'll reiterate those here. The pre-trip safety checklist helps ensure participants, equipment, communication, and conditions are properly reviewed before getting on the water. And then the emergency action plan template helps organizers think through emergency response procedures before the event happens. And these tools are meant to simplify preparation and help organizers feel more confident making safe decisions. So again, not that we want safety to hinder the experience, but safety is key. We'd really hate for any event to end in some sort of catastrophe or something that could dampen or put shed a low light on the experience for those paddlers, especially new people. So with that, Rob, we're going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Jason. At the end of the day, there are a few simple ways to get involved with Go Paddle Day. You can join an event that's already happening in your community. You can partner with a local organization and support an existing event through promotion, volunteering, demo gear, or simply helping create a stronger experience. Or you can host something yourself. So starting small and keeping it simple is completely fine. The important part is creating a welcoming and positive experience that helps people connect with paddling. And throughout the process, the PTC resources are there to support you. The event planning guide, event planning checklist, emergency action plan template, and pre-trip safety checklist were all created to help organizers feel more confident and prepared. You don't need to reinvent the wheel or figure this out on your own. The goal is simple: get more people on the water and give them a reason to come back. With that, I'll turn it back over to Stig.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Again, guys, like this is something that we can really amplify and grow if everyone gets behind it. The idea here is that with the combined social media reach that the brands, retailers, outfitters have, as well as the boots on the ground kind of feel that our sales reps, our instructors, and of course the brick and mortar stores have of being forward facing to other new paddlers, lapsed paddlers, paddlers that just need an excuse to get out again and refresh their gear. That's what this event is for. So I think you all capitalize on that. I think we can really try to increase participation and get us to a healthier spot as an industry as a whole. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for the best practice committee. That's excellent. That's excellent. It's a lot of work, a lot of initiative, but these are very important things we need to do. Is there any questions or comments you may have about this event? Put them in the Q&A or the chat. We can answer them one at a time. Like now is a great time now to speak to the people who are being organized in this event. Anything?
I will
Don't
call
be shy.
attention to everybody on check out the chat. Kristen has put up some links to the social media content. You've seen some of the images that have been created. You're free to use them. There's posters, there's other media assets that you can customize for your local event. So please check out the toolkit on the Go Paddle Day website.
Perfect. Thanks, Pam. And I've also included Canva templates there. So if you want to use your own brand imagery, just click on the Canva template. You'll be able to open that in a free Canva account, and then you can put in your own brand photos behind the graphics.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. Any questions at all for anybody? Should we move on to the next part of this webinar?
I see no posted questions
Okay.
at this time.
As I guess you were so clear and concise, it's crystal clear. If you do have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to the PTC. We can direct you accordingly to the Go Paddle Day committee. The goal here is to amplify this day as a day to be on the water, and that day turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into an entire season. Let's get paddling back to the way it was when we were all had a little more hair and a little less gray back in the early 2000s. So let's enjoy that. Well, thanks again. Right now, I'd like to introduce the next part of our webinar. And leading that charge is Lily. Lily, for those of you who don't know who she is, which would be shocking because she is certainly a force to be reckoned with in this industry. Lily is a fellow board member who has been extremely active in the creation of the PTC and a lifelong advocate for paddling safety through her role originally as, obviously co-owner of MTI and now under the umbrella of Mustang Survival. Lily is active in many additional organizations outside the PTC that advocate for life jacket use and safety on the water and paddle sports. So without further ado, Lily.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you see
Yes.
me? All right. So, thanks a lot for that comment about lack of hair and gray hair. I have hair, but it's very gray now. And I'm going to switch my hat from my PTC board member hat to my NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee hat. So this is a session about paddling safety in your bottom line, brought to you by the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee. Next slide. So thank you, Brad, who's a PTC member, board member, owner of Sun Jammers Water Sports. Is selling safety good for business? I love this picture of him. Is it? Oh my gosh, is it? Next slide. Thank you, Brad, for that picture. So, like I said, I'm a PTC board member, but I am also on the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee, and we're here. Craig Watson from the Ohio DNR and Jeff Mogg from the Water Sports Foundation. We're all on the Paddle Sports Committee, among others, but we're here to talk to you about is selling safety good for business? Next slide. Yes, we're gonna try to convince you that selling safety is good for business. See how relieved Brad looks. We're gonna talk about how it adds additional high margin revenue. Don't forget that. It builds trust and reputation. It reduces liability risk for your business if you sell safety. It encourages loyalty and return business. That's what we are going to talk about and hope to convince you that selling safety is good for business. Next slide. So what is NASBLA? National Association of State Boating Law Administrators. I know that's a lot. Even the acronym has to be 5 letters, 6 letters rather than 3. And that image is what you usually think of a state boating law professional zooming around in a motorboat with the life jacket on and firearms handy, radios, stopping people, checking them. But did you know NASBLA is actually a non-profit organization? This brings all those kind of boating law administrators together, representing all 50 states and U.S. territories. Next slide. And I am here to tell you that NASBLA is more than just enforcement. It's access, it's boat ramps. It is, using tax dollars, U.S. Coast Guard grant money, our money that we have put in to this kind of safety, cleanups, teaching paddle sports, reaching out to schools and clubs, Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, creating free events in communities, life jacket loaner stations, outreach at boat shows. This is more, and it means something to our businesses in paddle sports. Next slide. So NASBLA has a paddle sports committee, and why? The mission of the Paddle Sports Committee within NASBLA is to help grow this culture of safety, to promote paddle sports, to decrease incidents and injuries, and help increase participation. So there's a whole bunch of programs that the Paddle Sports Committee works on. Next slide. So here's a poll question. How do you train new staff about paddling safety, and how do you promote safety to customers? So you have some time to answer this poll. And I'm going to shift the presenting baton, over to Jeff.
Thank you, Lily. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeff Moog. I'm the content director at the Water Sports Foundation, which is a nonprofit that promotes boating and paddling safety on behalf of the U.S. Coast Guard. And I'm also a longtime paddler and a paddling magazine editor, Canoe and Kayak. I'm now editing Paddling Business Magazine. So this is not going to be the first time you've been asked this question. In the survey that PTC did last year, they asked whether whether respondents included staff training. And 56 respondents percent said yes. Which is okay. I think we could probably call that maybe a C minus. 19% did not provide safety training to staff, and 25% dodged the question, which means the real percentage is probably a little bit higher than that. So now I think when we get this poll results back, we'll see the folks on this call. I'm confident that you're going to be more in that 56%. So when you go ahead.
Jeff, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there. Can you guys hear me?
We can. I've just muted a couple others just in case it was their background noise.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So why are we doing this now? Okay, I don't have to tell any of you guys that paddling season is upon us right now. In fact, you're probably itching to get back out there, back into your stores. The sun is out, the water is up, and PTC Go Paddle Day, as we heard earlier in the presentation, is less than a month away. And you can see on the slide, there's some other calendar hooks here as well. In this time of year, most of you are probably onboarding new staff, you're debuting new products, you're introducing and reintroducing new and returning customers to the joys of paddling. So this is really the time to make sure that your staff keeps them safe, gives them the gear and information they need to have a good time, to build some confidence, and hopefully also to sell some high margin products along the way. Next slide, please. So, we've talked about safety a number of times in this presentation, and I think especially for specialty retailers and for liveries, it's the difference maker, right? It's the secret weapon. You guys on this call, I think we don't really need to tell you that, right? You live, breathe, and sell paddling all day long. That's not true of everyone who sells paddlecraft, right? So this really is a competitive advantage. And one of the things that we want to do as the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee is make it easier for you to incorporate safety into your business, into your routine in a way that enhances your bottom line. Next slide, please. So how do we do that? First, we've got a trove of training resources. You can see on the QR code here. This will take you to a carefully vetted training resource, the Presenter's Guide to Paddle Sport Safety, It's a free download, and it's based on the American National On-Water Skills Standard. It's been carefully vetted by national safety experts, and you can get it with the QR code or by reaching out to any of us here on the call. Oh, so here's the well, let me finish this and we'll get back to the poll question. So we have pulled together a collection also of paddling technique and training videos. And this list also was, carefully vetted by Paddlesports colleagues, by boating safety experts. So you know that the advice in them is rock solid. And, I'm sure that, a lot of you may have your favorite resources, your favorite videos out there. This is a collection that we've put together so you don't have to spend hours on YouTube looking for videos that give good advice, right? These are videos that it's all right here. The QR code will take you to them right away. And you've got it all right here. So before I pass it on to Craig, Kristen, do you want to come in and give our results of the poll question?
Sure, I can do that. All right, so this was a multiple choice, so you were able to answer more than one. So we've got 73% for on-water training. That's fantastic. One-on-one with a manager comes in second at 47%. This one's surprising me, 40% have instructional videos. Written materials, 27%, and nothing, they figure it out on their own. So room for improvement here, but also thank you to everybody who is making headway.
Yeah, I will say thank you, Kristen. And I think this poll result kind of validates what I said earlier, that I think that this group is a little bit ahead of the game in employing that secret weapon of safety. I think 73% on-water training. I think that's a really good number. 100% is better, but I think we can be pretty proud of 73% and the example that those of us on the call are kind of setting for the rest of the industry. So now, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Craig Watson of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and he's going to share some ways that state agencies can help your businesses. Craig?
All right. Thank you, Jeff. And thanks to PTC for having me on the webinar today. So I serve as the vice chair for the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee, where we've been doing a lot of these things we've already talked about with the presenter's guide and the video resources and other charges that we work on to make paddle sports safer, but also to promote it too. That's another big thing for our goal, is to get as many people involved in the sport as possible. I was also, as the vice chair of the committee, I am a state government employee. I am not scary. I don't carry a gun. I don't enforce the laws, and I'm part of the NASBLA, the National Association of State Boating Law Administrators. And my role in Ohio is to work as a boating education administrator and coordinator. In Ohio, paddling is very, very popular. We have, as of last year, I think it was 365,000 registered canoes and kayaks. And that doesn't include stand-up paddleboards and people that haven't gotten around to registering their boats either. So it's a growing sport. It's been continuing to grow and grow and grow. I believe in 2015 or 2016, it was around 150,000 registered boats in canoes and kayaks. So it's been almost a 200,000 increase in the last 10 or 11 years. So we get to do a lot of stuff in our state. All the states are going to be a little bit different, and I'll talk a little bit more about that for how they could help you at where you're located. But in Ohio, we have the ability to train our own instructors. So we train naturalists and officers to teach intro-level paddling sports to people to come and get started. So we'd like to get them their feet wet to do it safely. And then our intention is to hopefully they go on and buy their own boat and get started and keep progressing from there. starting with, an entry kayak to maybe to where to get into whitewater or taking it to another level. We also do some other promotion outreach where we have a state fair for 2 weeks, and we have a pond where we run nonstop kayak programs where we get people that might not have a chance to get out to the water or have access to boats. They get to come through and try kayaking in a safe, enclosed environment, and just to get to feel the experience of enjoying it. And we run on average about 3,300 people a year through that program. I also coordinate our boating education grant program. So I work with nonprofits, schools, political subdivisions, metro parks, and we provide money through the United States Coast Guard RBS grant, and through our Waterway Safety Fund in Ohio, we provide money for boating education, which primarily includes all kinds of paddling sports. So we give them money for buying canoes, kayaks, boards, trailers, life jackets, all the equipment that they need. We also pay for training. And we run that. They come through our ODNR instructor course. We have a paddling instructor course where we can certify people to be intro kayak, canoe, and stand-up paddleboard instructors. I open that up to anybody. So if anybody's out there and is looking to send either yourself or staff or somebody through an instructor course that meets the national standards, send me an email. The contact will be at the end of the thing, and we'll try and get you through one if it works for your schedule. So back to NASBLA, with what we're doing with the Paddle Sports Presenters Guide, you can use that on your own. You can use the video resources, but some other things for you to think about in your business where it might help you. Permitting, on the water access in your local area, if it's registrations or getting a water use permit or getting a permit for a special event to host a paddling program, you might need those contacts to reach out to. I would also like you to look into keeping on top of local laws and regulations. Some things change within the paddling and boating industry, so you want to stay on top of that. The state contacts also have through a NASBLA where we talk about access, where we're putting in Ohio, we have grants that allow money to put in paddle access grants only. So we're going in and putting in parking lots on streams and rivers. We're making changes to the shore to allow easier access for paddling, putting in ADA assisted ramps and docks, things of that nature. And then we also do training at NASBLA as well. So we're working on the Presenter's Guide. We do other things across the country to provide training for boating and paddling. So it's not just law enforcement. It's not just enforcing the local laws and regulations. And that's why I was fortunate enough to get a chance to come and talk to you, that, they reach out to your state contacts, get to know them, ask them what they can do for paddling, see where you can work together and promote something. A great example of this is coming up May 15th, where PTC member Sawyer Paddles is working in conjunction with ACA and the Oregon State Marine Board and some other affiliates, including the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, for their Fit to Float promotion, where they're going to have various locations on Friday where people can take kids out and bring them to these stations where they can learn how to get a properly sized life jacket, make sure it fits, make sure it's comfort, make sure it's getting the life jacket for the intended use. So we just wanted to bring that up as one example of great job of working together. Next slide, please. So back to when I was saying to reach out, this is where you need to take the time, and you're like, well, that's great, Craig, but you're in Ohio. How do I get to contact other people for my state? This QR code and the link at the bottom of the page takes you to NASBLA's page for state boating contacts. When you click on your state there, you're going to have the state agency that oversees the boating program in that state. You're going to have the boating law administrator, who basically oversees the whole boating safety program. And then you're going to have other contacts, whether it might be your education coordinators, your training coordinators, your registration and titling folks, your outreach and marketing specialists. So all those informational contacts, name, address, email, phone number, is going to be right there for you. So I would suggest, if you have the time, to reach out to them and just say, hey, this is what we do here. what can we do to maybe improve access, or is there anything we could do to work together and partner for coming up for the Go Paddling Day? Something that we can do together and work in collaboration between your companies and the state organizations. So with that, I'm going to kick it back to Lily, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Craig. So, look, people like Craig, they're your friend. They want to engage with paddle sports businesses. It's a partnership. And if you don't have a friend like Craig in your area, go to that resource page, that contact that he gave you. Go to NASBLA, click on your state, find out who your friend is going to be, reach out. I hope that we have convinced you that safety is good business, that it can be your secret weapon for separating you from the rest of the competition, improving your sales and margins. Sell that better life jacket. Sell that more appropriate waterproof top for protecting you from the cold. And your customers will learn to trust you more, and they'll send their friends to you because you'll know what you're taking care of them. So with that, I'm going to swing it back. Thank you so much for your attention, everyone. I hope you're excited. NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee, I'm just going to give a quick pitch. All right, so there's 24 members right now on the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee. So there's states, 12 states. There's U.S. Coast Guard members. There's paddle sports brands. I'm not the only one. There's nonprofits where everyone's working together. Again, it's another opportunity to cross over and create collaboration opportunities. So again, I want to thank Craig and Jeff and for everyone listening to this, and please help us evangelize this approach to our business and safety. Thank you. Swinging it back to Stig.
Thanks, Lily. Thanks, Craig and Jeff. I mean, obviously, our industry is built on specialty products, and specialty retailers do really well selling specialty products, things that people on this the Paddlesports Trade Coalition manufacture, and they manufacture with excellence. And I think that's a key thing to remember here. We're all in this for the long haul. We are not creating product that is unsafe. We just need to make sure we convey that to consumers that these are products that you need. And especially up here in Canada, you're seeing in this time of year where the rivers are flowing, it's cold water. Even just in Ottawa alone, there's been a few deaths this past 2 weeks of people falling in the river without a life jacket on. You know, it's as simple as that. You got to convey that messaging. So thank you very much for that and that presentation, and NASBLA, of course, for their ongoing support of the PTC. For those of you who don't know, a little history. NASBLA was instrumental in helping get the PTC started. It's how we first met Pam. And they helped fund our initial setup as an organization. And for that, we are forever grateful. We would not be here without their help. Looking ahead, mark your calendars for Wednesday, June 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be focusing our attention on the PTC Colab and the value of coming together as an industry beyond traditional trade show dynamics. The PTC Colab is designed to foster alignment, open communication, and professional development across all stakeholder groups. This is done through testimonials, shared experiences. We're going to explore why participation in this event can play a meaningful role in strengthening both individual organizations and the broader paddle sports ecosystem. The Colab was really formed early on when the PTC was formed as a gathering meeting place for us to, fireside chat, swap stories, in order for us to kind of weather the storm that COVID had created. Since then, it's become a meaningful way not only to interact with your peers, but also to obviously help shape and get information to make your business stronger and more powerful. This year, we're looking at bringing in periphery businesses that we all know and we deal with, insurance companies, credit card processors, e-commerce platforms, and having almost like a speed dating style afternoon where you can meet these people and see how they can help clean up your bottom line and streamline your efficiencies. The world is moving incredibly quick right now. And we as an industry need to get on that. We need to capitalize on some of those savings and figure out how we can not be left behind. So you'll hear a lot more about that on June 17th. I really encourage you to attend that one. It's gonna be very interesting to see what the survey results coming out over the next couple of weeks. So if you don't forget to please fill out that survey. It'll help guide us. So we hope you'll continue to join us to build participation and strengthen relationships and support the long-term health of our industry. Take that survey, fill it out, reach out to myself as the chair of the PTC Colab committee. I'm always open for new ideas and how I can help you guys better your business, share ideas, and obviously meet you down in Montgomery for an incredible event. Thanks again for your support, participation. Over to you, Pam.
And I just want to say thanks to everyone again for joining us today. Feel free to contact us at info@paddlesporttradecoalition.org if you have questions or input. The webinar recording will be posted as soon as possible on our PTC website. And please feel free to share the link to anyone that may be interested. If you're not yet a member, we are always hoping that you will join us, and the join information is also available on the website. And there's a number of various member categories, so check that out. And on behalf of the presenters today, the full PTC Board of Directors, thanks again, and we hope to see you on June 17th. In the meantime, thank you again, and safe paddling. Have fun, everybody.